about were quietly entering and leaving the church, as they did, of course, at thousands of other churches around the country. This church, the seat of the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Washington, held a special significance for the late president. St. Matthew's, located just 7 blocks from the White House, was the parish church for the Kennedy family when they were in residence at the White House. It's in this church that tomorrow's funeral service will take place. At the moment, we are awaiting the beginning of the final service of the 7 here at St. Matthew's. The crowd streaming out from the service which has just concluded, another crowd just waiting to go in. All day long there's been an overflow on the steps here outside with all 1,200 seats of the church filled. A solemn Requiem High Mass is the service for today, being offered for the late president. This church, with its black and gold funeral crepe hanging just above the main door, has been the scene of the consecration of bishops and the burial of several high government officials, and now will shelter the body of the country's first Roman Catholic president. Tomorrow's service will be celebrated, as you know, by a close friend of the late president, Richard Cardinal Cushing of Boston, and we have had confirmation from Boston that it will be a low mass. Because of physical limitations, attendance will be by ticket only, and much of the conversation here at the church today has been concerned with the availability of tickets or the fact that the tickets are highly unavailable. Secret Service men at this moment are inside and around the church working out final plans for tomorrow, when they will be mingling with the crowd of VIPs expected to attend the service here at St. Matthew's. Meantime, the services continue here and elsewhere as many millions of Americans remember the late President Kennedy in their prayers. This is Peter Hackus at St. Matthew's Cathedral in Washington.
Secretary General U Thant announced today that the United Nations will be shut down tomorrow, a day of national mourning for President John F. Kennedy. The Secretary General said there will be no meetings of any kind and no Secretariat activity. At St. Francis Xavier Church in Hyannisport this morning, Mass was celebrated as usual, but there was a difference. For our report, here is Jim Jensen in Hyannisport.
St. Francis Xavier Church in Hyannis was filled to capacity for the 11 o'clock High Requiem Mass this morning. It was filled except for 2 seats in the second pew from the front on the left-hand side of the church. They were left empty, not because anyone asked them to be left empty, not because they were roped off, but left out of respect for the loss of their beloved parishioner. For those were the 2 seats that normally would have been occupied by the late President John Kennedy and members of his family. Monsignor Daly, who delivered the sermon this morning, said he'd like to think of him not as the president, but as just one of our beloved parishioners who came these Sunday mornings to pay his respects, to worship to the God of his choice. I like to think of him, said Monsignor Daly, as the man who, after church was over, would stick his head through the door and say, "Nice job, Monsignor." I like to think of him as the boy who came to church to worship. And then he went on to speak of the other memories he had of him, as the fact that President Kennedy never ever forgot his boyhood friends, even though he was born to wealth. He treated all men with absolute equality. Earlier this morning, Senator Edward Kennedy, his mother, Mrs. Rose Kennedy, and Mrs. Shriver attended early morning mass. At sometime this afternoon, the family will be leaving for Washington, and we have a report now that there is a possibility that the former president's father, Ambassador Joseph P. Kennedy, may also be making the journey to Washington. Jim Jensen reporting from the Hyannis Airport.
Now, at the Capitol Rotunda, where the president's body will lie in state throughout the remainder of the day after it has been removed from the White House, there will be 3 short speeches, or series of remarks, actually, I suppose, before the public is allowed to start viewing the body. There will be remarks from President Lyndon Johnson, Speaker of the House John McCormick, and by a third person who we understand as yet has not been named. To Dallas, Texas, and Tom Pettit.
There is the president.
There is Lee Oswald. He's been shot. He's been shot. Lee Oswald has been shot. There's the man with a gun. It's absolute panic. absolute panic here in the basement of Dallas Police Headquarters. Detectives have their guns drawn. Oswald has been shot. There is no question about it. Oswald has been shot. Pandemonium has broken loose here in the basement of Dallas Police Headquarters. Now, whether the bullet literally hit Oswald or not. Now, whether the bullet literally hit Oswald or not, we are not absolutely positive. But there has been a gunshot. Oswald reached for his stomach, doubled up. It'll be impossible to determine whether he was hit or not. Did you see whether or not he was hit? He was hit, wasn't he?
He grabbed himself on the side and fell to the ground.
That was my
With a
understanding. We were, what, 4 feet away
I was
from
5
him?
feet in front of him when they shot.
What is your name?
Frank Johnson.
And you're with?
UPI.
He did grab his stomach. I saw him
Yes,
grab
he did.
his stomach.
Right from the side.
Lee Oswald obviously has been shot. The witnesses around us here seem to confirm that. It happened so fast and with such suddenness that you can understand it is virtually impossible to determine the direction from which the bullet came, although police obviously in a rather excited state are attempting to determine where the shot came from. Captain. Well, now, tell me your name.
Yeah, I'm Jeff Edwards from KHJ Radio in Los Angeles.
How did you see it, Jeff?
I was standing over towards the left. Oswald came out. He had the same look on his face that he always does or has. Suddenly, what sounded like a loud firecracker rang out. He grabbed his side and he said, "Ow!" and fell to the ground.
Fell to the ground. And I saw the flash right on his black sweater. The flash. Oh yeah. The man had a hat, a dark hat, a brown suit. He was stocky and strong. Came to him and he put the gun right there. I saw the flash over the black sweater. Yeah, and the man stood like. Oh, he was right here. The man was right here. You probably had it on your TV camera. No, I saw a man there. I thought he was one of the detectives. He was a stocky guy, well dressed, with a hat. He had a hat on.
Where did he go?
Brown hat up. I don't know. I think his coat was brown and his hat was
Where did
black.
he go, Pierre?
Well, he was here. He just shot there. He just put the gun there. I saw the flash on the black sweater. Oh yeah, right there. And the guy.
Point blank range.
Yeah. Right here. I mean, I saw the flash on the black sweater. You know, that's what I remember. You know. The flash. The both were crouching. No, I saw him there. He was in the group of men right here.
Masquerading as one of us or what?
I thought he was one of the detectives. You know, he had a hat and stocky. He was well dressed. That's what I remember.
Had you seen him before?
I think he had his hat.
There were none of us in this
Maybe
area.
he flew off. I don't know because I look at the flash.
There were
that's
no
all.
reporters in this area.
What?
No.
The trouble is I got the story and I can say it.
All right, now that's the situation here at Dallas Police Headquarters in the basement, where in this story, which has been so unreal from the very beginning, as Lee Oswald, 24 years old, was attempting to move through a crowd to the armored car where he was to be transferred to the Dallas County Jail. As Oswald came out, he was asked, "Did you shoot the president?" or something along those lines. And at that hour, at that moment, at that instant, sometime about 11:15 in Dallas, someone walked up to Oswald. At point blank range, fired into his stomach. An ambulance now is coming here. This will be the ambulance to take Lee Oswald to wherever he will receive medical treatment. It is almost unbelievable. It's almost unbelievable. This is the back end of the ambulance.
If you can get back. If you can get back. As far as I know, no.
Well, do you have the man who fired?
We have a man, yes. I didn't hear you.
The back of the ambulance has been opened. police and detectives are now standing cordoned off. Here comes a squad car driving in from the north side of the Dallas police basement. Yes, you have one man, do you not,
Yes.
Captain?
Yes, I didn't see it, so we've got the man I think did it.
Here he comes. Here's Oswald again. He is now lying very pale on the stretcher. He's being put into the ambulance, head first. There's a group of detectives around the rear end of the ambulance. Now they have the problem that the ambulance is blocked by the armored car. Out on Commerce Street, the armored car, which was to take Lee Oswald to Dallas County Jail, now is blocking the exit of the ambulance, which is to take him to a hospital. Captain, where will he be taken? Captain, where will he be taken?
I'm assuming Parkland Hospital.
Parkland Hospital, the irony of ironies, the place where President John F. Kennedy died. The armored car now has been cleared out of the entranceway. The ambulance is leaving Dallas Police Headquarters. Dallas police say they do have a man in custody. They believe he is the man who walked up to Lee Oswald at point-blank range and fired a revolver into his stomach. Oswald grabbed at his midsection, fell to the floor. Now you can see the pandemonium that once again has broken loose.
We got a man that I believe, I didn't see it. I think it's the man.
You got him? What's he look like?
I can't give you a description now. He is known locally.
Known locally? What's his name? That was a captain of the Dallas police saying the man that they are holding is known locally, a man wearing a black hat.
Is he hurt at all?
Who is he? Has someone else been wounded, do you know?
What do you look like? You see him, Captain?
Captain, what is it?